Imagine being banned from the country where you were raised, not because you were born elsewhere, but because of one mistake that changed your entire life. Now, imagine your children growing up without you, celebrating birthdays, graduations, and life milestones, all without their dad. That's the real-life story of Joe Giudice, the former reality TV star who's now making headlines again, not for a scandal, but for a heartbreaking plea to Donald Trump. Please let me see my daughters. Joe Giudice first came into the public eye through the hit reality show, The Real Housewives of New Jersey. Known for his bold personality and larger-than-life lifestyle, Joe and his then-wife, Teresa, were a central part of the show's explosive success. But fame has a dark side. In 2013, Joe and Teresa were charged with multiple counts of fraud, accused of falsifying bank statements, tax returns, and other financial documents. A year later, both pleaded guilty. Teresa served her sentence first while Joe stayed with their 4 daughters. Then Joe went to prison, sentenced to 41 months in federal custody. But what followed was even more devastating. Joe was born in Italy, but moved to New Jersey as a child. He lived in the U.S. his entire life, went to school there, got married, started a family, but he never became a U.S. citizen. So, when he completed his prison sentence in 2019, immigration law took over. He was detained by ICE and eventually deported back to Italy, a country he hadn't lived in since he was 1 year old. Just like that, Joe Giudice went from suburban dad in Jersey to an exile in Europe, cut off from his daughters and everything he'd ever known. For years, Joe lived in quiet frustration, occasionally posting videos about his life abroad, doing construction work, staying fit, trying to stay connected with his girls through FaceTime and virtual chats. But no virtual call replaces walking your daughter down the aisle or cheering her on at graduation. In 2023, Joe missed one of the biggest milestones in his eldest daughter, Gia's life, her graduation from Rutgers University. That absence cut deep, and now Joe says he can't bear to miss any more. Which brings us to now, June 2025. Joe has gone public with a direct plea to Donald Trump. On Instagram, he posted a photo of himself with a caption that said, "I was raised in Jersey. I'm a father of 4 amazing daughters, and I just want to be allowed to visit them again. President Trump, I respect you, and I'm asking for a second chance." Not only did he tag Trump in the post, but he also tagged Donald Trump Jr., hoping the message would reach the top. But here's where it gets interesting. Joe isn't asking to become a citizen again. He's not even asking for a green card. All he wants is the right to visit. Just visit. A temporary waiver. A moment to hug his kids again. And why is he turning to Trump now? Because just weeks earlier, Trump had pardoned Todd and Julie Chrisley, another famous reality couple who were convicted of financial crimes. If Trump could help them, why not Joe? Joe's immigration lawyer, Jessica Cadavid, told the press that her client simply wants to be part of his daughter's lives again. Not through a screen, but in person. He wants to be there when they walk across a graduation stage. He wants to meet their future husbands. He wants to walk them down the aisle one day. These aren't political requests. They're fatherly ones. But legally, it's complicated. The Biden administration has been stricter on immigration matters, especially concerning individuals with criminal records. Joe's only shot might be a humanitarian visa or a presidential pardon, something that falls directly under Trump's power if he wins office again or chooses to intervene now as a political move. And as we've seen before, Trump loves making headlines with last-minute pardons and bold gestures. The public is divided. Some argue that Joe broke the law and the consequences are fair. He had his chance, he messed it up. Others say he's served his time, hasn't committed any violent crime, and deserves a chance to be a dad again. After all, how long should someone be punished for one set of financial mistakes? Adding another layer, Joe's relationship with his ex-wife Teresa has improved. The two now co-parent peacefully, and there's no legal or domestic conflict standing in the way of Joe visiting. Teresa hasn't commented publicly on the plea, but sources close to the family say the girls desperately miss their father and would welcome him back with open arms, even for a short time. Now, Joe's plea sits in limbo. His legal team has yet to make formal contact with the White House, but the groundwork is being laid. They're preparing to reach out to the State Department and are actively exploring all possible channels. But the public message, the emotional viral Instagram post, that was Joe's way of saying, I've got nothing left to lose. What's at stake here isn't just one man's immigration status. It's a bigger conversation about justice, redemption, and the role of mercy in our political system. When someone has paid their dues, admitted their guilt, and still tries to show up for their family from thousands of miles away, do we as a society shut the door forever? Or do we find a middle ground? The irony of Joe's story is that it's no longer about headlines, tabloids, or TV drama. It's about four daughters growing up in America, wondering if their father will ever be able to come home, even if only for a visit. It's about a man who made mistakes, yes, but also took responsibility and now wants to repair the only thing that matters anymore, his role as a dad. So now, all eyes are on Trump. Will the man who loves second chances and public redemption stories give Joe Giudice his shot? Or will politics and a tough-on-crime reputation keep the doors closed? As we wait for an answer, one thing remains clear. Joe's not giving up. This is no longer about the Real Housewives. This is the real life of a father fighting to get home. What do you think? Should Joe be allowed to return, even just temporarily, to be part of his daughters' lives? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.